Season 2, Episode 1. It Came from the Nightosphere. In the Season 2 premiere of Adventure Time, we start off with a banger, because it's another Marceline episode. This is one of those episodes I remember vividly for a few reasons. The first is the Fry song, which is a certified classic. But after hearing the Fry song, Finn summons Marceline's dad, Hudson Abadir, from the Nightosphere in an attempt to help Marceline rekindle her relationship. They get off to a rocky start, which leads him to stealing Marceline's base and roaming around Ooo stealing souls, which of course causes Finn to attempt to stop him. Finn is more concerned with stopping Hudson's sucking spree, while Marceline is more concerned with getting her base back, so you can see the conflict. Hudson eventually grows several more feet tall, but that doesn't stop Finn, who chops off one of his limbs, releasing Marceline's base. Once she has it, the two argue and go their separate ways, which causes Finn to play the Fry song to stop them in their tracks. Once Hudson hears how she feels about the Frys, he breaks down and reminds Marceline that he'll always love her. The wholesome moment is cut short by Finn slicing him open, releasing the trapped souls, and sending him back to the Nightosphere like The Rock in the 90s.
I'll see you in the Nightosphere, you sick freak.
Sick!
Emotionally and physically exhausted, the two lay on the grass, and Marcy points out a weird pocket on Finn's shirt where Jake's been the whole time.
To ask you, what's with that pocket on your shirt?
Oh, Jake's in here. Sup, Jake?
This is how you start off a season. Hudson as a character is so good. Fun fact, he's actually voiced by Martin Olsen, Olivia Olsen's actual father, so their chemistry was just so natural. Another fun fact is we don't get his name until next time. We see him, so he's just credited as Marceline's dad. Martin's ability to play an evil soul-sucking demon while still portraying love and emotion for his daughter he probably subconsciously neglected thanks to Nightosphere duties is unmatched. Some other cool things about this episode are when he makes his way to the Ice Kingdom and calls Gunther the quote, most evil thing he's ever seen, which at first sounds like a harmless joke, but is some crazy foreshadowing. Also, the smiley face that Finn draws for the Nightosphere portal is a nice homage to Adventure Time's lead character designer, Phil Aranda, who will make that excited face anytime he hears good news, and that face will make sporadic appearances throughout the series. What a way to start off Season 2. Hey everyone, this is post Spoke to the Plug here. So that was a crazy first read, right? I'm back. It's been a huge gap since the first video, like I explained in the beginning, I think. But I promise it will only get better from there. I was very nervous reading about the first episode, but I have a new bit for this season. If you guys remember in the first season when we talked about Season 1, that video, I kind of explored my friend Angelique and her ties to it. And so I wanted to bring in another friend by the name of Nat. And Nat's another fellow streamer. And I convinced her somehow to watch Adventure Time with me on stream. We were both streaming. A lot of our friends were there. And I can't, for obvious reasons, play the entire thing here. But I would like to show you guys some highlights of me and Nat watching this episode. Sorry, I'm loud as on that stream. So
Yeah, you are.
we get already.
Wow, I'm over here thinking that he can
we
hear
get
me.
the
LOL.
the Fry song. I can hear you. We can have a conversation like this. It's gonna be
it's gonna
very
be
delayed and
super
awkward,
delayed,
but
dude. Like, this is funny. I don't know how we're gonna do this.
I know it's gonna be super delayed. So stop. I just gotta chop all this together. I'm gonna chop all this together.
Oh, what the frick? That does not look right. Especially what was inside the mouth.
So this, if for those of you who didn't know, Martin Olsen voices Marceline's dad, and Olivia Olsen voices Marceline. So who Hudson Abadir, who's Marceline's dad, it is her real dad. It's played by her real dad. So they play father-daughter very, very well together.
That works well.
At this,
What? Hold on. Run it back. Run that back right now. I know they said, who the fluff are you? Sorry.
right off the bat, this dude loves sucking. Like, I don't know another father that enjoys sucking as much as Marceline's dad. Like, it's absolutely this this was like a common theme in early Adventure Time where Finn would think he's doing something good, but by the end of the episode he would have to reverse what he did because he ended up doing more harm than good. So by bringing Marceline's dad in, he thought he would help by reuniting the two, but what they get in return is just some the literal embodiment of evil walking ooh, just taking the lives essentially for a kid's show. He's practically killing these people, taking their souls. I always thought that. I don't even know if they changed that in later seasons. I don't remember.
Yo, but why'd you pause it and where Thrin is throwing it back?
And he'll point his arms.
Perfect freeze ring. Finn is throwing it back, man. Bro. And then Marceline's like, yeah, this is a good view.
Bro.
Did you intend that? Did you intend that? I can't.
No, I did not intend to give Finn Bro.
Perfect freeze frame.
This is gonna be my last stream ever. Thanks, Annette.
No one sucks the life from my penguins except me.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Pause.
You darest encroach upon my domain.
Oh my god, his eyes. Look at his eyes. Ooh. Yo, that looks like a.
What did it look like, Net?
You heard me. You heard me.
Bro, back up. What the is this? What is this shot? What is this shot?
Literally,
what is this shot?
It's these, man. Look at that. Side by side right there. That's the clip.
I've been meaning to ask you. What's with that pocket on your shirt?
Oh, Jake's in here. What's up, Jake?
And for those of you who enjoyed that, there will be a link somewhere down in the description to our entire 2-hour-long watch-along. And there will also be another Season 2 episode we react to later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. Season 2, Episode 2, The Eyes. This episode sees our sleepy boys Finn and Jake attempting to fall asleep after not sleeping for what Jake said 7 days, which is Robert McDonald levels of crazy. But they were out adventuring, doing things like slaying dragons, rescuing princesses, and attending quinceañeras. When they try to sleep, they get the unnerving feeling that something is watching them, and outside their window is a horse. A horse with the craziest eyes I've ever seen. It starts driving Finn and Jake mad, so they try everything to get rid of it, like Jake using his powers to move it far away, dressing it up as a bunny so Hawks can take it away, and trying to lure it away with music. I found that part really funny because Jake starts playing Beethoven and Mozart on his viola, but he pronounces it Beethoven and Mozart.
So, Beethoven's not luring enough for you, is it? Well, how about some Mozart?
After the plan with the Hawks fails, they drop the horse into Finn and Jake's house. And Finn is so fed up, he kicks the horse in the butt, and it's revealed to have been Ice King the whole time. The funniest part about that is how nonchalantly Ice King tries to leave after stalking them for hours.
It's none of your business how nude I sleep, Ice King. None of your business.
Gentlemen.
The three of them fight, and Ice King says the reason he was spying on them is because he wanted to learn to be happy, and while listening, Finn and Jake fall asleep, and Ice King thinks that's all he needed too, was a good night's rest. But he still wasn't happy. Again, Ice King is such a beautifully tragic character. His actions were very, very strange, but his motives were very genuine and sincere. I'm so excited to talk about future Ice King. Something I found funny about this episode was Finn's design at times was so drastically different throughout the episode. The storyboard artists looked like they had a field day.
I'm still not happy.
Season 2, Episode 3, Loyalty to the King. This is, I think, the first Ice King-centered episode. He's probably on screen more than Finn and Jake are. After they rescue another princess from the Ice King's prison, he decides to shave off all of his beard after the breakup and exercise. This is also the first time we see Ice King outside of his tunic, revealing his very thin, frail body. Without his beard, the Ice King is unrecognizable and therefore attracts the attention of princesses and dubs himself the Nice King. After Finn and Jake get word, they offer their night services to him and are tasked with mistreating princesses, which makes Finn understandably uncomfortable. When Finn goes to confront him about it, the Ice King's beard begins to grow back, so he sends Finn and Jake to his castle to retrieve his clippers, and that's where they make the shocking discovery.
The Nice King is the Ice King!
They return back, push through hordes of princesses trying to protect the Ice King, who they still think is the Nice King, and Ice King tries to escape, but he can't fly without his beard, so the next scene where Finn kicks Ice King out the window and frantically shoves his beard on his face with glue got my first big laugh of the entire season.
No, wait!
This episode coming immediately after The Eyes feels appropriate. I think it's dismissive to call Ice King crazy, but he definitely has some type of dementia or absurd social disorder which causes him to do these things. He even uses a banana as a phone, which is supposed to be a funny joke, and, you know, it is, but for the Ice King's character, it's just more sad. Also, this episode ends with that freaking Adventure Time logo at the end. I thought that stopped after season 1, but, you know, I guess a guy can dream. Also, Smooth Love Me Space Princess can't hurt us, right? Right? Season 2, Episode 4, Blood Under the Skin. Okay, so honestly, this was the first episode I couldn't remember much about, and I think that's because I put it in my vault afterwards. This episode sees Finn getting a splinter, and we get some very uncomfortable close-ups reminiscent of the Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. Finn buys a thimble to protect his finger from none other than Choose Goose.
Thanks, Choose Goose.
I am Choose Goose. Come back for some juice.
He tries to show off the armor to knights with huge armor, but they just make fun of him, and then we also see the introduction of Sir Slicer, who makes these grand entrances all through the episode just to taunt Finn. Choose Goose tells Finn of some armor that used to belong to Zeldron, so they make their way to it, by having to pass a couple of trials first, including running through a swamp of people showering, which... okay. Getting a giant beast to stop crying, and beating a ghost in Drop Ball. This freaking show, man, I swear. They sneak past him and find the ancient armor, only for it to end up being for a lady. Finn refused to put it on, but Jake had other ideas. They cure the ghost of his drop ball addiction, tell Sir Slicer off, and fly away in the most armor in Ooh. This was a really fun episode. I love the dichotomy of Sir Slicer having this dark and brooding look, wearing all black, but riding a pink horse. Choose Goose makes every episode better, and I'm glad he became a recurring character. There was a moment earlier that made me laugh so hard. It's when Finn slapped him after he roasted him. Season 2, Episode 5, Storytelling. Jake has come down with something bad, and nothing will make him feel better but a story. Finn tries to make one up, but Jake insists it has to be a real story with romance, suspense, a fight, and a happy ending. Finn makes his way into the forest to find Jake a story and starts forcefully making things happen for the sake of it. First, he forces Mr. Fox and this goose to kiss, and I mean force, like take both their heads against their will and push them together. He then tries to pick a fight with this baby bear, which just ends with the mom being sad that he killed him.
You killed him!
Mom, quit touching me.
You killed him and now he's dead!
Finn eventually gets jumped by a bunch of the forest creatures and knocked out by a forest wizard. He's about to be lowered down and be made one with the earth before giving advice to all the creatures on how to live happier lives. He even encourages a female cow to take the bag off her udders because she's perfect just the way she is.
Just let it hang out.
Yo, put that bag back on!
Okay, that's probably the hardest I've laughed since the Choose Goose slap. The forest people are grateful, so they release Finn and he rushes home to tell Jake the story. Jake claims the story cured him, and honestly, I don't know if he's joking or not, but Finn caught whatever Jake had, so I guess he was telling the truth. Jake attempts to tell Finn a story, but before he even starts, Finn falls asleep and we get our happy ending. Really cute episode. I said it in my season 1 video, but the episodes that focus on Finn and Jake's relationships will always be a win. There's so many moments in this episode where Finn did things he would never do, all in the name of making Jake feel better. Even when the Forest people are about to essentially kill him, all he could think about was Jake never getting his story. Also, the show's creator Penn Ward makes a voice cameo as the Forest Wizard.
Your cage is made of sticks, brother. Just kick it apart.
Season 2, Episode 6, Slow Love. Okay, so the way this episode starts with Jake treating BMO like a small pet and telling him to go sit in the corner and a huge nail just comes barreling through the treehouse has to be top 5 Adventure Time openings. This snail's name is Snorlock, and he came to Finn and Jake to help him find love. He takes off with them in their treehouse on his back, and Finn and Jake do that freaking logo thing again. But it's a little different with it saying Lady Time instead of Adventure Time, so I appreciated that. Snorlock has the absolute worst luck with women, and it can be seen when he has a straight up panic attack by just simply talking to one, or trying to. Jake and Finn try to roleplay what he should say and do, and I think it's Jake intentionally trying to make Finn uncomfortable, which leads to a funny scene.
What's up, Lady Snail?
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking about mating with snails.
They suggest that maybe Snorlock can impress the women by showcasing a talent, so he begins to beatbox and all the snail women come flocking. They grind against Snorlock so hard that they begin breaking the treehouse, which causes Jake to put an end to it by throwing salt on him, which leads to the shocking discovery that Snorlock is a slug and has an easier time getting a slug girlfriend than a snail one. Snorlock and his lady have a kiss and Finn calls it gross, which made me chuckle, and BMO gets slimed on. This is a pretty straightforward and goofy episode. I enjoyed it a lot. Snorlock is actually voiced by 2 people, John DiMaggio, who is of course Jake's actor, and the legendary Biz Markie. Season 2, Episode 7, Power Animal. This episode starts off on a roof party, with it revolving around how easily distracted Jake can be, which even Cinnamon Bun comments on. Finn gets harassed by a guest that comments how energetic he is. When he and Jake sleep, Finn gets kidnapped by that same stranger in the night, which happens to be a bunch of gnomes planning to use his energy as a source of power to power a device to flip the entire world upside down. Can we take a second to really take in what I just said? Jake makes several small attempts to begin the Finn hunt, but keeps getting distracted, including telling corny dad jokes.
Did you hear about the goblin who got his left arm and left leg cut off?
No.
That's okay, he's all right now.
This happens all while Finn is being tortured, and still all Jake can do is party and goof around. While Jake is partying, we meet the party god for the first time, who is just a floating wolf head with a backwards hat, which is the most regular show thing I've ever seen outside of regular show. The party god grants Jake the gift of 1,000 party demons to crash the gnome's plan. He ends up saving Finn, and afterwards, Jake suggests they go eat Cinnamon Bun. This is a really memorable episode for me. A lot of it has to do with the Jukebug scene, which is where the opening of this video came from, and I assume Future Spug did put at the beginning of this video, otherwise this will make no sense. Cinnamon Bun's voice changed in this episode also, which is something I pointed out in the first video in the Enchiridion episode. And finally, this episode never really sat well with me watching Finn get tortured like that. I think it's just a testament to Jeremy Sada's skill as an actor, where I actually felt so bad for this totally fictional character in this totally fictional world, and it made me so angry at Jake. The episode is still very enjoyable and funny though, so it kind of balances itself out. Season 2, Episode 8. Crystals Have Power. This episode starts off with Finn looking at a weird crystal that was left on their door, which looks to have Tree Trunk's lipstick on it. Tree Trunk vanished from existence like 4 episodes into Season 1, so it could just be a coincidence. Finn and Jake have a tough guy contest where Jake loses control and actually hurts Finn, causing him to have a flashback to when he hurt his brother and vows to never overdo it again. The treehouse gets invaded by a bunch of crystal knights and they kidnap Finn to turn him into one. Jake refuses to attack the knights, so much like the previous episode, Finn is enduring so much pain and calling out for Jake while he stands idly by. Joshua keeps appearing to try to convince Jake to just lose control, but to no avail. They fully crystallify Finn, and we see Tree Trunks in her final form, which is ruler of the Crystal Men. a form she took after she ate the crystal gem apple. She wanted Finn there to marry him. Okay. Joshua visits Jake again, this time with his brother Jermaine, who at this point was also voiced by John DiMaggio. Jake asks if he's dead, and Jermaine says, nah, they're just dreaming at the same time, which isn't a one-off line and will come back later in the series. Joshua says that he meant to say always lose control on bad guys, but Jake didn't let him finish. He punches Tree Trunks in the gut, causing her to spit out the apple, turning her back to normal. Tree Trunks professes her admiration for Finn.
Oh, Finn, I was trapped here for so long, and all I could think about was you and how you're so nice to me, and I just wanted to say, I think you're cute, and I like you.
And the three go back home. Pretty solid episode. Anytime Joshua is involved, it's always a win. The introduction of Jermaine and the return of Tree Trunks, Season 2 is looking pretty strong. Season 2, Episode 9, Her Parents. This is one of those episodes I remember vividly too. I especially love the opening of the three of them having breakfast. It's just the cutest. Jake is supposed to be meeting Lady Rainicorn's parents, so he gets the idea to invite them over early before they actually meet to make a good impression. Jake tells Finn that there used to be a war between Rainicorns and dogs, which causes Finn to convince Jake that they're going to hate him because he's a dog, so he pretends to be a Rainicorn. As the old trope goes, Jake does everything in his power, sometimes at the expense of Finn, to not give away that he's a dog. I mean, seriously, this is the third straight episode where Finn is getting tortured. Once all the shenanigans are done, Jake invites them in to eat, but they assume he's talking about Finn because Rainicorns eat humans. That's where Jake drops the act, and to his surprise, they were even more excited, and that's when Lady shows up and says the dog saved their dad in the war. The episode ends with all of them having lunch and eating soy human. It's like human, but without the meat. I love this episode so much. No matter how much of a numbskull he can be at times, Jake truly does care about the people around him, and I think this episode is one of the best examples of that. I also think this episode has some not so subtle undertones about interracial, or in this case, interspecies relationships. The fear that Jake won't be accepted because of their species' dark past causes him to pretend to be something just for their approval. What really nailed this home for me is that it just so happened to be a brown dog that saved Lady's dad. I could be reaching a little too deep into it, and I probably am, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is also the episode with the homies help homies line.
Homies help homies.
I was watching this episode with a friend a few years back, and she actually loved that quote so much I ended up getting us matching shirts. And I hope you're doing well, homie. Season 2, Episode 10, To Cut a Woman's Hair. I've been waiting on this episode, and for those who don't know or remember, you'll find out why in a sec. Finn and Jake are approached by a tree witch who asks for their help in achieving princess hair because she's balding and, according to Jake, really ugly.
If she was good, she wouldn't be so ugly.
I love how honest Jake is sometimes. The witch basically kidnaps Jake, which forces Finn to go try and steal hair. But it doesn't work. He's not a good thief. For his final attempt, he legit takes PB out on a spaghetti date that lasts 15 seconds, and she gives him a piece of her hair. But it doesn't work because it's bubblegum. Finn straight up calls her out for being an ugly person inside and out, but he still wants to help her.
Well then, check this out!
So Finn gives her all of his hair, and she trips and falls, and they laugh at her, and the episode ends. You guys just had to be there when this episode aired. Finding out that Finn was hiding a crazy Rapunzel head of hair under his cap was insane, and still one of the all-timer moments in the show's history. Season 2, Episode 11, The Other Tarts. This is another episode I remember vividly, and I mean scene by scene. I feel like Cartoon Network aired this episode a lot. PB tasks Finn and Jake with delivering the royal tarts to the annual back-rubbing ceremony, and the task is so important that if the tarts don't get there, they'll chop her head off. Again, What did I just say? They give Cinnamon Bun some decoy tarts and go off to the beaten path where PB told them not to go, and in an attempt to reverse psychology, the tart thieves end up getting all their tarts stolen, which honestly leads to some pretty funny moments.
Hey, Finn,
Yeah, Jake?
did you just, lick me all the way up my arm?
No.
Strange.
Jake, let me see those matches.
They show up at the ceremony thinking PB is about to get beheaded, but Cinnamon Bun showed up with what we thought were the poison tarts, but really Finn and Jake had the poison tarts all along. Just then, the Royal Toter, a character I forgot to mention earlier who had gone mad and will definitely never show up again, bursts through the door and gives one of the most unhinged speeches ever.
This cosmic dance of bursting decadence and withheld permissions twists all our arms collectively, but if sweetness can win, and it can.
Come on, man, it's only season 2. Way too early for that. Season 2, episode 12, The Chamber of Frozen Blades. Finn and Jake are on a stakeout in the Ice Kingdom because Flambeau, yes, Flambeau, gave them a tip that he is up to no good. When the Ice King leaves, they infiltrate his home ninja style thanks to this ninja book they found. They find out that Ice King plans on bringing back a special cutie, which they assume is a princess, so they both agree to wait until he comes back. They find the Ice King's secret ninja room and begin practicing ice ninja magic. Meanwhile, there's a B-plot of Ice King taking a sick Gunther to the doctor. We don't know what's wrong yet, but he eventually returns with pregnant Gunther and scolds Finn and Jake for damaging his place. Finn finds Dr. Princess in Ice King's bag and they begin to fight ninja style. While that's happening, Gunther's egg begins to hatch.
Gunter, why didn't you tell me?
Yo, that happened and I had a Dr. Princess reaction.
What am I looking at here exactly?
The episode ends with Finn and Jake kicking the math out of Ice King. Also, the Chamber of Frozen Blades I'm almost 100% sure is a reference to something, and I'm purposely not looking into it because if it is, I want one of you to tell me in the comments. And if not, still a pretty solid episode. Season 2, episode 13, The Pods. This is also another episode I remember vividly. Wow, season 2 was on a roll. This episode sees Jake training for the ice cream marathon. While he and Finn talk about that, they run into an old frog guarding 3 magic beans, 2 good and 1 evil. So naturally, Finn accepts the responsibility of watching the beans as a hero would do. Jake is annoyed because they're supposed to be training for the ice cream marathon, not watching beans. He comes up with the great idea to plant them, and when the evil one shows up, we'll just slay it. I was like, that's a pretty ingenious plan. So they plant the beans, and the first one to grow is a pod full of baby pigs in cute little outfits. Finn decides to test them to see if they're evil, but they're just little cuties. The next pod to grow had a bunch of magical rainbow wands. Nothing evil about that, so the last pod has to be the evil one. Finn and Jake get some shut-eye while waiting, and they awake, they find the pod is filled with ice cream? Not just any ice cream that refills itself. Jake helps himself to most of it before realizing the baby pigs and wands are gone. They find them attacking a small village. The pigs were the evil ones all along. M. Night Shyamalan couldn't do a plot twist this good. Finn remembers they put a picture of ice cream next to their allergies question on their test, and he and Jake grab the pot of ice cream and shoot it at the pigs, causing them to explode. Now the village has ice cream all over it, but Jake comes to the rescue.
Take it from here, folks.
He likes ice cream.
This was just a really fun episode. I don't have too many notes on it, and as someone who is very biased towards this show, I don't think it has any filler episodes, but if I did, you can't go wrong with this one. Season 2, Episode 14, The Silent King. This episode is the introduction of Zergiak, the Goblin King! His tyrannical spanking reign of terror is stopped by Finn and Jake, and that wasn't an adjective. That was literal. Zergiak is a maniac. Once he was cast out by Finn, Jake, and the other goblins, they all choose Finn as their new king, which at first sounds sick, but Finn grows tired of the absurd rules and PTSD of the goblin people, thinking they'll get spanked at the slightest inconvenience. Finn even sings a song, which I could swear had a different lyric when I first saw this episode like 10 years ago.
I just wanna help y'all as much as I can, and y'all just keep showing me your goblin hand.
But I guess it was always hams. Zergiak returns with an army of Earclopses, a literal army of giant walking creatures with ears for head, to take back his throne. Finn wants to stop him, but can't get seen breaking any of the royal rules because he needs a disguise. When he said that, I knew that could only mean one thing.
Kingly, I need a disguise.
Jump in my mouth!
I forgot this was the episode that introduced the Jake suit, and I was like a little kid again watching it play out. The two stop Zergiak, and the goblin people are convinced that Whisper Dan, who is just Finn's assistant with a box over his head, is the real Finn, thus giving him and Jake an out. They leave the kingdom still in a Jake suit form, and Finn asks Jake why his insides smell like vanilla, and you would think it's because he loves ice cream, and I mean we were just talking about that, but it's because some wizard put a curse on him, so... okay. I enjoyed this episode a lot, not only because of the introduction of the Jake suit, but the show continues to build on the world, and the introduction of Zergiak, who is played by Davy Johnson, who although doesn't show up a lot in this series is one of my favorite characters. He drew the most laughs from me in this episode. We'll revisit Zergiak and Davy Johnson in a future video. Season 2, Episode 15, The Real You. PB makes a return after being absent for like 10 episodes to host a science barbecue. Something goes wrong, causing the grill to catch on fire, and Finn puts it out in the most overdramatic way.
Meat! Die, you fire!
PB seems interested in his hero brain and requests he give a speech in front of a bunch of science heads. Finn feels insecure about his lack of knowledge, so seeks different ways to improve his smarts, including going to the library and attending Worm College? The real answer, however, comes from Choose Goose, who I'm very happy to see again, and he gives him a pair of glasses capable of increasing his brain smart density. I didn't know what to write here, okay? With his newfound smarts, he creates a bubble blower that creates 2, 3, and 4D bubbles, and creates a black hole. Once revealing the glasses are the source of his smarts, PB begs Finn to take them off, and this little sequence made me chuckle.
Please! I need the real you!
The bubble blower accidentally turns his sword 4D, which was cool as hell, not gonna lie, and he uses it to destroy the black hole. Once saving the day, PB rewards him with a kiss on the cheek, causing him to pass out. This was again, I'm gonna say it again, a really cute episode. This episode also marks the end of Finn's golden sword era. I wonder which one he's gonna get next. Season 2, Episode 16, Guardians of Sunshine. I'm not even gonna waste time. This episode is freaking dope. Probably definitely one of the best episodes of the season, and we're only 2/3 of the way done. This episode sees Finn and Jake playing a game on BMO, talking about how easy it is until they get to the final boss. Finn says it'd be super easy if they were actually in the game, to which BMO says they can actually be put in the game if BMO presses the big red button, but it can be extremely dangerous. Finn and Jake ignore BMO's admonishment and get them to press the button in their sleep, sending Finn and Jake into a video game, making them fully 3D. Oh my gosh, I have not felt this way since seeing Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. Finn and Jake quickly realize that the game is a heck of a lot harder doing it than actually playing it. Still, leads to some really funny moments.
Jumping over this pit is easy, remember? We can do this backwards with our eyes closed.
They try to make an escape from the game's bosses and find an exit, and so do the bosses. After experiencing the sunlight, the bosses back off Finn and Jake because they won. However, they do plan on killing BMO for imprisoning them. BMO tells Finn to use the combo they tried in the game earlier that didn't work. But this time...
Up, down, left, left, right, right, down, spin, down, up, left, down, spin, up, down,
The creatures get sent back into the game, and Finn and Jake still haven't learned their lesson. So the episode ends with BMO doing the same combo move to send them back. This episode was so sick. Seeing Finn and Jake in a fully 3D environment is still one of the coolest things from the show's history. There are a handful of video game references in this episode, including a bunch of actual Mega Man sound effects. This is the first of many uniquely animated episodes, and for being the first one, it holds up extremely well. Season 2, Episode 17, Death in Bloom. Princess Bubblegum has to attend a science fair thing, so she tasks Finn and Jake with watching her princess flower. She says she'll be back on the morrow and leaves it to their responsibility. After burning the plant, it was an accident, but of course they do, Finn comes up with a plan to go to the land of the dead to retrieve the flower's soul. They get there thanks to Peppermint Butler, who tries to warn them not to drink the water before the portal closes. And the land of the dead, it doesn't actually look that bad. They run into the dead world gatekeeper, who says they can't come through, but they just shimmy alongside him while making straight eye contact, which was really funny. They run into a bunch of skeletons who try to pick them apart to get their flesh, and when they hide, Finn comes to a realization that PB isn't coming back tomorrow.
I'm glad she's not coming back till tomorrow.
No, she said she's coming back on the morrow.
Yeah, on the morrow. That means tomorrow.
No, man, the morrow is her bird.
Come again?
It's her bird. That thing is crazy fast. It'll only take her like 20 minutes to get back once that conference is over.
So, they already don't have a lot of time, but shortly after that, an all-time Adventure Time scene happens.
You've got to be really, really quiet.
Get him!
Jake!
I thought it would be funny.
The two find a river, and Jake fully takes a dive even after being warned, and forgets who he is, and, well, everything really. They make their way to Death's castle, and Death says he'll only help if they beat him in a music battle, which leads to one of the most epic scenes of Season 2. Finn loses, and Death threatens to kill him until he mentions Peppermint Butler, and Death forgives everything. He returns Jake's memory and the princess plant, which PB just ends up eating, and Peppermint Butler asks for their flesh in exchange for helping them to get to the land of the dead, and they think he's joking. I love this episode so much. We get just a teaser into the dark nature of Peppermint Butler's character, and we get to see Death for the first time in the series. He was also played by Miguel Ferrer, an insanely talented actor who sadly passed away in 2017. Thankfully, we get to see more Pep Button Death in the future.
I'd like your flesh.
Quit being silly, Peppermint Butler.
I'm going to take it from you while you sleep.
Season 2, Episode 18, Susan Strong. We made it to Susan Strong. I'm particularly excited to talk about this episode. Finn is very self-conscious about being the only human in Ooo, to the point where he disassociates whenever he thinks about it. In this episode, he and Jake find a hatch amidst the stumps they were clearing for PB and go down to find Susan and a bunch of other human-like creatures down there. Finn brings Susan to the surface, and it at first is so cute how scared she is of everything, before Finn reassures her that they're just harmless. They share some marshmallows by a campfire where Finn sings the Susan Strong song.
Susan Strong, this is where you belong, hanging with me on a fallen tree. Don't you think you deserve this, to live up here on the surface? I think you do, and I think all your friends do too.
Oh, how cute. Once tasting marshmallows, Finn suggests they take her to the Candy Kingdom, where after a taste she goes back to tell her people to eat all the Candy Kingdom. They attempt to scare them away before they get caught on fire and remove their head covers, revealing them to be fish people. All except Susan. Finn asks her what she is, and she just runs away, on some to be continued type stuff. Super fun, Super memorable episode. Susan Strong is my favorite side character of the entire series, and I can't wait to talk more about her and find out if she's a fish person or not. Some small things in this episode that I think are worth mentioning is this is the first episode, I believe, where PB makes a reference to her family by mentioning her Uncle Gumball. A cool bit of dialogue that's going to mean so much more later on. And this is also the last episode before Finn turns 13, so happy birthday, buddy! Oh, wait, I think that's the next episode. Season 2, Episode 19, Mystery Train. Jake blindfolds Finn and takes him on a surprise train trip for his birthday. Once meeting the creepy conductor and climbing aboard, there's some commotion between Colonel Candy Corn and Candy Cane, which leads to the lights turning out for a sec and Candy Cane's bones appearing in front of him. Finn is excited at the prospect of a murder mystery and trying to question Colonel Candy Corn, and then his bones disappear. And then another passenger dies. He doesn't suspect the conductor because he's too weird and creepy and tells the remaining passengers about his thought process, which was honestly a really cool scene that I appreciated because it was actually pretty coherent and actually made sense even for Finn. After all the remaining passengers perish, Finn quickly reduces it down to the conductor, who even offs Jake. Finn chases him down and threatens to do the same before the conductor is revealed to be Jake, who reveals that the entire train ride was an elaborate birthday surprise murder mystery present for him. The train rides off a cliff and lands on a giant jelly to catch them, and the episode ends with Jake saying that wasn't the plan, and they actually could have died. To this day, I don't know if Jake was trolling or not, but this was a really fun episode regardless. I love how the twist was kind of obvious with Jake trying to tell Finn that it's the conductor, but Finn not believing it and Jake getting offended because he is the conductor. I said it once, I'll say it again. The episodes that put an emphasis on their relationship will always be a win. Also, there's a pancake hidden somewhere in this episode, and I couldn't find it, so I'm leaving it up to you guys to tell me in the comments below. Season 2, Episode 20. Go With Me. Okay. I was probably looking forward to this Season 2 episode the most. Go With Me sees Finn stressing out about who he's going to take to couples movie night. Someone he can possibly smooch, but doesn't really want to. He considers PB, who declines to practice for her whistle death match. Okay. Jake insists PB does want to go and calls Marceline to help make PB jealous. I've always loved this scene of Finn making Marceline laugh by just making noises.
Giddy up? Diggy diggy? Diggy diggy, diggy diggy.
The jealousy thing doesn't work, and what follows next is Finn trying to follow Jake's plan and Marceline's plans. Jake's intentions are to help, but through some rather lame methods, and Marceline is again just there to troll Finn and by proxy PB. She convinces him to do things like wrestle her and get her heart pumping for him by having her chased by wolves. PB has Finn thrown out of the kingdom until he stops acting like a psycho, which, fair. Marceline tries to comfort Finn about it and even gives him a little sweet kiss. Finn comes to the conclusion that it's been Marceline the whole time, and when he tries to ask her out, Marceline thinks it's Finn wanting to be in a relationship, but he really just wants to go to the movies with someone. Marceline accepts and then says runner-up for probably the most out-of-pocket line ever said in Adventure Time.
Of course I'll go with you, Finn.
You will?
Yeah, as friends.
Of course as friends.
But no tongue.
What?
Finn and Marcy grow disgusted by the romance at the movies, and the episode ends with them crashing the movies with a pack of wolves. Top tier Season 2 episode right here, man. This is the first episode I believe that Finn, Jake, Marcy, and PB have all been in, which means this is the first time we see PB and Marcy interact with each other. This is important because the way Bubblegum greets Finn versus the way she greets Marcy tells the audience that there's some history there.
Greetings, Finn. Hey, Marceline.
Hello, Bonnabelle.
Cannot wait to dig into that when it's time. Marcy also calls her Bonnabelle, which is her real name, Bonnabelle Bubblegum. Has a nice ring to it. Also, if you made it this far, this is the second episode in this video where me and Nat reacted to, so I will now show you highlights from that same stream. I bring that up because Nat legit, I have a bunch of Adventure Time stuff. This is like, I have this one. I have that shirt from this episode.
That's so cute.
I can do myself.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
From here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And I have the benefit of not having a delay with you, so hopefully that resonates with the episode as well. She said whistling deathmatch championship. Deathmatch.
Team deathmatch.
And this next clip, this is her practicing for a whistling deathmatch.
She's just like one of the girls where somebody asks her out and then makes the bullshit ass excuse.
That is something. That is the first detail of hint of something that went on between the two. She has some kind of going on, and I know it now. But back in like 2011,
you didn't know.
What was going on with these two?
Yeah.
All you gotta do is get in there and wrestle Princess Bubblegum and show her how fun you are.
Okay.
Fun.
Fun.
I knew you.
That's where I get that from. I don't know if you ever heard me say that, but sometimes I'll do that. Like, what's wrong with him? He just needs some spaghetti. What is...
I don't know what this picture is, dog. Like,
what's going on?
Look at the saliva.
What's going on with my man's here?
Like,
what's going on?
Marceline looks like Marceline looks old as in this picture. Like,
Marceline smiling like that.
Yeah, it's friends. Of course it's friends, but no tongue.
Okay, what? Oh.
Damn.
Oh my god, they're going crazy.
Oh my
god.
Oh
what
my
is that?
god. Oh my god.
Wait, are those
bugs
my god. Inside
Did you see the way
ice cream?
There are inside the ice cream?
There's like it looks like a cube. Like with a hat and like they're making out, but he also has a smiley face on the other side. So it's like
that's not uncommon.
This frame because they just jumped out and everyone is still making out. They haven't processed like
yeah, they didn't come here to watch the movie. Every movie I've ever gone to see with a female, I don't know what it's about.
Right.
Again, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but if you're interested in watching the full 2-hour stream of us reacting to the entire episode, I will leave a link down in the description below. Season 2, Episode 21, Belly of the Beast. This episode sees Finn and Jake entering a distressed monster's belly to rescue a bunch of party bears who don't realize they're all about to be digested by and turned into the stuff. They get assistance from a little party bear and take them to a guy named Party Pat who calls himself the Chief. Party Pat insists he'd help them out if they can party like the Chief. They play a little montage of them trying to keep up with Pete, and my favorite is the karaoke scene.
So turn up the music and we'll never leave. We'll never run from the fun because we're bears, 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 bears.
Pat kind of straight up lies and dooms all the party bears to have a grim lava fate. To get the bears' attention, Finn and Jake attempt to kill the mood by putting on a banger.
My hot dog's dead. My pizza's dead. My cupcake is dead.
Like I said, banger. Once killing the mood, they quickly make their way to the emergency exit, or as Finn calls it, the butt intestines. What I found especially funny is they don't outrun the lava, as the next scene shows all of them with bandages and burn marks. Pat tells the monster they wish to party inside his belly once more, but promise to be more gentle. The monster accepts, and the episode ends. This was a fun rewatch. I wish Party Pat was a recurring character. Party Pat is voiced by the hilarious Andy Samberg, but his appearance is based on Pat McHale, Adventure Time's former creative director and creator Penward's right-hand man. Finn can also be seen using his root sword in this episode since his golden one was destroyed in the real you. This will be a theme. Season 2, Episode 22, The Limit. This episode sees Finn and Jake doing two things, attempting to save Hot Dog Princess's hot dog nights, and fanboying over the ancient psychic tandem war elephant. Once making their way to the maze where the knights got stuck, Jake wraps his legs around a tree stump to make sure they can get out. The Hot Dog Knights gets lost at the entrance of the maze and tell Finn and Jake that there is a being who can grant wishes, and again the prospect of the ancient psychic tandem world event tempts them. I want to highlight this little funny freestyle they did.
Sing, cause your mama said. She said your mama what? What your mama say, she say?
I'm busy making babies, greasy babies, sliding on my gravies and...
Jake throughout this maze fights off monsters, holds off poisonous insects, and solves maze puzzles for them to move forward, all while stretching himself to the absolute limit.
You think you can stretch up there, buddy? Yes! Whoa! Jake, you okay?
Super thin Jake still makes me eerily uncomfortable to look at. Lucky for him, they make it to the center where the wish-granting being lies, and even though Jake is stretched to the limit, Finn cheers him on to stretch directly through the building one last time. After which, Jake declares he's dead. He accidentally wishes not to be hungry, thus ruining his chance to wish himself or for the ancient psychic tandem world event. Finn of course wants to wish Jake to be okay, but Jake insists he wishes for the ancient psychic tandem world event.
Ancient psychic tandem war elephant, hear me!
Finn the human, are you worthy to command me?
The ancient psychic tandem war elephant wishes for all of Finn's friends to be okay, and this episode ends as one of the best of season 2. A funny highlight of this episode are of course the incompetent Hot Dog Knights.
I wish for a box. Sweet! I wish to blow up. I mean, like, get big.
Wow, you guys are really stupid.
What do you mean?
They kinda distract me from Jake slowly offing himself. Seeing the ancient psychic tandem war elephant, and yes, I have to say the whole thing every time, for the first time, was really fun. And funnily enough, it actually makes more appearances than most of these seemingly one-off characters, though they are very few and far between. This episode also touches on something I talked about briefly in my season 1 video where I discussed Jake not caring too much about dying. I mean, Finn has an opportunity to save him and he rejects it because he knows his best friend would enjoy this other thing even more. A really great episode. Also, I really want to shout out my friend Angelique, who I'm going to try to incorporate in all these season breakdowns, and I decided to wait for this episode because while I was making it, I decided to text her the Yo Mama song you heard in the episode, and like a true fan, she actually responded with the rest of the lyrics. Not the biggest thing, but I thought it was super cute, and I'll have a better bit for her come season 3. Season 2, episode 23, Video Makers. A bunch of characters gather at Finn and Jake's treehouse for a movie night, and it's implied they do this often, which, that's just so wholesome. Before the movie starts, they read the warning that appears before the DVD movies. That warning even appears on the DVD collection I'm rewatching in this series. After reading the warning, Finn and Jake decide to cancel movie night and make their own movie, one that doesn't have a warning in the beginning. After realizing their movie was just a bunch of random junk, they decide to make another one with conflicting ideals. Finn wants to make an action movie while Jake wants to make a romantic comedy. The two's clashing styles leads to Finn and Jake arguing about who made the better movie. BMO gets told to use only the best footage from their recordings, and it leads to BMO only using B-roll footage of them being friends, and our first BMO song, Friends Don't Fight.
Finn, why are you fighting with your friend Jake? You know, this can be the end.
I've always had fond memories of this episode, especially after learning that Pendleton Ward hated characters fighting or yelling at each other, so this was one of the few times we see our heroes at odds. There's a handful of things that happen in this episode that will be touched on in future episodes. Even they feel like inconsequential one-offs right here, including Jake being jealous of Mr. Cupcake and Lady Rainicorn.
Cut! I didn't tell you to flex out.
자기야, 흥분하지 마.
No, I don't like the way he's flexing at you.
I don't hear her complaining.
And the phrase, check please, which will become Shelby's catchphrase for the rest of the series. But the most important thing from this episode has to be the very first mention of the Great Mushroom War, which was a nuclear holocaust that occurred 1,000 years before the events of Adventure Time. Oh yeah, for you casual viewers, don't let the pretty colors fool you. Ooh is post-apocalyptic, and there'll be more talk about this as the show goes on. Also, the movie the gang tries to watch in the beginning is Heat Signature 3, which I only bring up because it's the perfect segue. Season 2, Episode 24, Heat Signature. This episode sees Finn and Jake excited to show Marceline the first Heat Signature movie. When sitting on her uncomfortable couch, they decide it'd be much more comfortable to float like Marceline and her ghost friends. Marceline pretends to turn them into vampires and take them on a bunch of fake lessons, including how to turn invisible. When they think they're invisible, they start messing up LSP's camp, ruining her things, and when Finn knocks over her food, she says something I've missed since season 1.
You guys ruined everything! I'm gonna kill you!
Marceline's ghost, however, takes it a step further and are genuinely trying to kill Finn and Jake. They invite them to their house where they plan on sucking their guts out through their brains. Their words, not mine. Marceline shows up to apologize, but can't save them because vampires can't be ghosts. She says it's like rock, paper, scissors thing, which, the way that line was delivered made me chuckle a little bit. Finn and Jake are seemingly doomed until they mention the movie Heat Signature, which stops the gut-sucking ritual, and the episode ends with the watching of the movie. Pretty enjoyable episode. As we approach the end of Season 2, it's cool to get a lot more context into our main characters' histories, no matter how small. This episode is pretty on the nose with everything, but one thing I thought was worth mentioning is during the gut-sucking ritual, when played backwards, the chant the ghost makes says, "Farewell, Pat. Good luck in New York. Come back soon." Which is a really sweet goodbye message to Pat McHale as he stopped working on Adventure Time around this time. Even then, I'm pretty sure I'm going to find a reason to talk about Pat for every season. Seriously, go watch Over the Garden Wall. Well, after this video. Season 2, Episode 25, Mortal Folly. Okay, this episode is when things start to get serious. I've been rubbing my hands in anticipation to talk about this one. Princess Bubblegum decides it's time for Finn and Jake to visit the series' overarching villain, the Lich. He's been imprisoned in hardened amber thanks to the legendary Billy. PB explains the Lich is constantly trying to get into your head, so they wear these special gems to protect them from his influence. Unfortunately, that doesn't work for a snail that was chilling in Finn's backpack, and it sets the Lich free. PB gifts Finn with Billy's gauntlet, the only weapon that can destroy the Lich, and a sweater because the Lich's lair is supposed to be cold. How sweet. The Lich's only purpose is to destroy all life. Finn cannot fail. Their tender moment is interrupted by the Ice King, and again, when they are literally trying to save the world. Ice King traps them in an ice cave, and that's when Finn uses Billy's gauntlet for the first time to escape, which causes Ice King to kidnap PB and interrupt their attempt at stopping the Lich, which causes him to reach his well of power, and while fighting him, he breaks Billy's gauntlet and knocks Jake unconscious, causing Finn's protective gem to break, which allows him to enter Finn's brain, and we get one of the coolest yet harrowing scenes of the season.
Stop! Aren't you cold, Finn? Walk into the well, Finn.
Finn is immune to the Lich's power thanks to the sweater, and he starts taking it to the Lich. I mean, giving him the business until he vanishes from existence, and it would seem like the crisis had been averted until the Ice King decided to do this.
Princess, I'm sorry for all of this. I love you, and I've decided to set you free. Go free!
The episode ends right there. There are a bunch of significant things that happen in this episode aside from the potential extinction of all life. The episode starts with Finn, Jake, and PB meditating. Finn imagines an older version of himself with a mechanical arm, and this is next level foreshadowing. Holy schmauzow. While Jake imagines Lady Rainicorn riding a horse that to me resembles James Baxter. I'll revisit this connection when it's time. There are also several visual clues to the old world, including the Lich's Well of Power being in an abandoned subway station. Another thing I thought was worth mentioning before we move on to part 2 of this epic 2-part finale is Ice King is also in the well with the Lich, but was not able to be influenced, and I can bet it has something to do with the crown. Alright, time to finish this off strong. Season 2, Episode 26, Mortal Recoil. We have made it to the season finale. After being dropped in the Lich's well, PB is rushed back to the Candy Kingdom Hospital, and Finn lashes out at the Ice King for nearly killing her. Bubblegum's sugar levels begin to stabilize and she returns to life. The Ice King claims to have seen something weird happen to PB, but is shunned away by Finn and the Candy People before getting a chance to explain it. Bubblegum begins acting weird, almost like she's actually not herself. Even Peppermint Butler is able to tell when something's off with her.
Princess, I brought you some tea.
Whoa.
PB begins to not just act strange, but freaks out exorcist style, even setting her room ablaze. She asks Finn to bring her some items, and she makes some kind of concoction, and we see a demon monster version of PB who begins terrifying the Candy Kingdom. Ice King appears again to say he saw something come out of the Lich thanks to his wizard eye and land into PB, which means that she's been possessed by the Lich. Finn reluctantly asks for the Ice King's help and freezes the possessed PB, who topples over and breaks, seemingly killing her. The doctors scramble to put PB together again, but there isn't enough gum to work with, so she becomes younger, and we see a 13-year-old PB who just so happens to be the same age as Finn. The episode seemingly ends on a happy note, but the closing shot is of the possessed snail that broke the Lich out in the first place. The episode ends, but now the story is finally starting to take shape. Let me say this, the snail that set the Lich free isn't just some random snail, it's the snail that appears in every episode of Adventure Time and waves to the audience. And once you see him, you can't unsee him. So the fact that this little Easter egg turned into the reason O will be in imminent danger for the rest of the series is absolutely insane. And speaking of that, can you imagine if the show just ended after the season? Adam Muto said in interviews that every time the show got renewed, he couldn't believe Cartoon Network would still let them make it. So season 2 was the first time Adventure Time looked like it was genuinely ending. Like, looking back with everything I know, I can't say that the cliffhanger of an ending was satisfying. Like, this isn't The Sopranos. This season brings way more questions, and it would have made me so mad if I didn't get to see Susan Strong again, and find out whether she's human or not, or learn more about Jake's brother, or quite possibly the biggest thing, what happens to the Lich? And what's all this about the Great Mushroom War? Who started it? Why did it start? Is that the reason there aren't any other humans in Ooo? If so, how did Finn survive? Thankfully, all of these are hypothetical. Season 1 did a great job at 3 things. Comedy, world building, and establishing our main characters. Season 2 expands on all of those things while moving the plot forward and even introduces the overarching threat that will present itself throughout the rest of the series. Even so, this season was filled with some hilarious moments, some colorful new characters, and arguably some of the most wholesome moments of the entire series.
Nemo's right. Fighting over this movie junk is dumb. I'm sorry, man.
Me too, dude.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I can't wait till next week's Movie Club.
Tick, please.
That's a good one, Bimo.
Come along with me, and the butterflies and bees. We can wander through the forest and do so as we please. Come along with me to a cliff under a tree, where we can gaze upon the water as an everlasting dream.